All right, so really fun stuff. We're going over how to regulate, how to balance your hormones naturally. Now, first thing I'll say is balancing hormones is totally just a fad word, and I'll just put that out there. I absolutely use it to just, go along with the trends. There is no such thing as balancing. What does that mean, right? Which hormones are we balancing? Are like either, hormones are high, they're low, they're like a healthy range. Balancing wouldn't really make sense. So just wanted to put that out there if anybody is watching this afterwards or knows much about hormones, that balancing would not be the correct word, but it's an easy way to just word it, right? I also want to preface by saying, I'm not diving too deep into this. Obviously, this could be a whole college course. So this is going to be a very brief overview. And if you ever have questions about your hormones, get them tested. Get them tested. Get them tested. You never know where your hormones are at. I promise. Even if you've gotten them tested 3 months ago, they change day to day. They change definitely month to month. If you were on birth control, or if you like are just a normal woman, especially, I would highly recommend it just being part of your routine to get your blood work done. I would say at least every 6 months, but if you're on something like birth control or you feel like something's out of whack, or if you get your blood work done and there is something that you actively need to be, working on, getting your blood work done every 3 months would be even better. If you don't know where to go about that, first of all, I would just have to say I would not recommend going to your primary care doctor. I would not recommend trying to go to an endocrinologist. Standard traditional like American medicine isn't usually ideal when it comes to hormones. So I can send you a link to just a trusted place to, you'd get your blood work done either at like Walmart or a LabCorp or something. And yeah, so anyway, if you need that resource, do that. And again, all of this is just for educational, informational purposes only, but you never know where your hormones are at. You just have to get them tested, okay? So, what are some ways that we can regulate hormones through food? Your fats. So, protein, carbs, and fats, right? The three macronutrients. Fats are so important because they regulate our hormones. I recommend a minimum of 60 grams of fat per day. Minimum. I feel like sometimes when numbers get thrown out there, a lot of people look at that as like a maximum or a roof. If you get a calorie goal, anything below the calories is good. No, you want to be right at that, but 60 grams of fat would be the minimum to make sure that hormones are in a healthy, regulated state. So if you've never checked where your daily fats are, I would highly recommend checking those and making sure that you are eating more than 60 grams per day. Certain foods like salmon, sardines, and mackerel, or certain fish, sorry, fatty fish, this is supposed to say. Fatty fish are really good for your hormones. They provide anti-inflammatory properties with omega-3s, as well as nuts and seeds like flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of like seed cycling, having certain seeds throughout different phases of your cycle. I don't think it's anything to run home about, but just interesting how each seed has, different phytoestrogens, which help regulate estrogen levels. And, that I want to really point out too that anytime we talk about one hormone, they all play a domino effect. So they're all constantly leveling each other out. You're never going to have low estrogen and everything else is the same. They're always going to make up for one another. So if you have high cortisol, all of your other hormones are also being affected, making up for that. So some are going to, increase, some are going to decrease. So it really is a full domino effect game. You can't just really only manipulate one. So if one thing is off, basically everything is off. And also, why is this important? Your hormones play such an essential role in your body's ability to gain fat, or sorry, to lose fat and gain muscle, which is probably why you guys are here, as well as just how you feel, your happiness, your irritability, your mood regulation, your PMS symptoms, all that. Avocados, really good food for regulating hormones. Berries, they protect against oxidative stress, which any kind of stress, whether that's your boyfriend breaks up with you, someone's holding a gun to your head, you have a lot going on with work, or oxidative stress, just stress from the environment, maybe breathing in toxins, eating toxins, driving to work. All of these things, your body perceives stress as the same way. And stress in the body is elevated cortisol. Turmeric is anti-inflammatory. It reduces hormonal imbalance symptoms. So if you are experiencing any like hormone symptoms or hormonal imbalance symptoms, I should say, incorporating turmeric into your day could be helpful. A whole bunch of herbs, honestly, could be really beneficial for different reasons. Fermented foods. This is because fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, probiotics, they promote a balanced gut, and your gut and your hormones are directly correlated. So if you are constantly bloated, have a lot of gut issues, I can guarantee you also have hormonal issues. If you've been constipated for your whole life or even just for the last week, it's affecting your hormones and vice versa. So yeah, fermented foods, making sure that you are taking care of your gut. Legumes stabilize blood sugar. I think at least I didn't know at the beginning of my journey kind of diving into this that like insulin and blood sugar is like that's a hormone. Insulin is your hormone, or is a hormone. So also another one that completely plays a role in each other, paying attention to your blood sugars and whatnot. Just overall, a Mediterranean style diet is a pretty good direction to go in. You know, you don't have to eat it 100% of the time. But if you are kind of going through any hormonal journey, that's pretty much recommended. It's very low, like anti-inflammatory foods and are high in omega-3s and whatnot. So if you're not sure what to eat or how to build up meals to improve your hormones, just kind of look up a Mediterranean style diet. All right, movement. So strength training improves testosterone, your insulin sensitivity, cortisol, estrogen, endorphins. So that, happy, euphoric feeling that we get, endorphins, that's also a hormone. So again, if you have any kind of hormonal imbalance, you're not going to feel those, amazing, happy feelings of endorphins. You're not going to have a sex drive towards your partner or anything, especially if you're in your 20s. Like if you don't have a sex drive, that's a huge, that's not good. Your thyroid also, hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism plays a massive role in your body's ability to lose body fat or gain muscle, have happy chemicals. Like a lot of times you'll experience anxiety or depression if we have some sort of thyroid mishap. And then also the two hormones that I want to talk about right now are leptin and ghrelin. I used to say it wrong, so I'm like retraining my brain. Ghrelin, leptin and ghrelin are hormones that influence hunger, cravings, satiety, and appetite. So if you're craving a bunch of sugary, foods, or you're eating and you never feel full, or you never feel hungry, or whatever it is, your appetite's all over the place, or you never feel fully satisfied after a meal, those are coming from your hormones, leptin and ghrelin. Strength training induces muscle growth, obviously, right? Which skeletal muscle is considered and it's a part of the endocrine organs. So we have different organs in our body that are part of the endocrine system, endocrine meaning hormones. So your muscle is a hormone producing organ. So super important to make sure that we're taking care of it, that we are, stimulating muscle growth. That was all supposed to be the same sentence. Muscle produces hormones. Yoga and Pilates are a good form of movement as well. They promote cortisol regulation through controlled breathing and low impact strength movement. So you're getting the benefits of utilizing your muscles, as well as ideally doing some sort of breath work, paying attention, tying with breath with movement, giving your body a moment to slow down, and keep things low impact. As well as walking. Walking is a great form of movement if you are on any kind of hormone journey or you just want a type of movement that isn't going to harm your hormones. Walking is the way to go. Now, lifestyle. This is by far the most important out of all of the slides. Whatever kind of movement you're doing, whatever kind of diet you're doing, I mean, they're going to play a massive role in your hormones, but the biggest by far is your lifestyle habits, which is why at Frequency, I'm not just giving you macros and a workout plan. We are very much paying attention to your lifestyle habits. How do you sleep? How do you manage stress? Are you moving just regularly, not being too sedentary, paying attention to your steps, paying attention to, limiting caffeine and alcohol, avoiding endocrine disruptors like BPAs, parabens, preservatives. So ideally, the majority of your produce coming from organic is helpful in that sense, making sure that the products that you're using, you don't have just a bunch of toxins in your house, you're not breathing in a lot of toxins and whatnot. A lot of times people think they need to diet themselves. They need to diet the human. We need to diet the client. A lot of times we need to diet the environment. We probably need to reduce stressors. We need to reduce caffeine and alcohol and pay attention to what we're breathing in and what we're putting on our skin every single day. If we focus on dieting the environment more than just taking away food, which is the way we get nutrients, you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck. As well as maintaining a healthy body weight, right? If you're extremely underweight or extremely overweight, that's definitely not going to be beneficial for your hormones. So just that alone, if we get your body in a healthy BMI state, that alone could benefit your hormones. Yes, Miss Geraldine, focusing on what we're consuming. Period. Yeah, consuming. anything, you know, who you hang out with, what you're consuming on social media, the types of shows that you're watching, especially before bed, is super important. Sun exposure. This is so important. Majority of people are deficient in vitamin D, like most of us are, especially if you are, you know, working in an office the majority of the day, especially if you're not, you know, intentionally getting about 20 to 30 minutes of direct sunlight per day, especially if it's raining that day or if it's, you know, winter months or you don't live in a sunny place. Super important to make sure that you get sun exposure. That will help with testosterone and endorphins specifically, as well as just overall energy levels, you know, making sure you feel good, that you're not anxious, you're not depressed. If you ever are feeling like, oh my gosh, life sucks, check in with yourself. When was the last time you spent time in the sun? That could be helpful. Prioritizing a healthy gut, like I said, that's a lifestyle, as far as like whole foods, limiting processed foods, eating slowly, super important. Making sure that everything you're doing is contributing to regular bowel movements. You know, if, like I said, if you're constipated, not going to the bathroom every day, lifestyle factors play a role in that. And when we go poopy, we release estrogen. And as we know, if we're not releasing that estrogen, if we're holding on to excess estrogen, now all other hormones are going to be affected by that. So that's why going to the bathroom every day is super important. That's why as your coach, it's like, this girl just, I signed up to lose some body fat. Why is she asking me about my poop? Because it plays a big role. And then supplements, last but not least, chasteberry progesterone support. So if you get blood work done and you know that you have, you know, low estrogen, low progesterone, chasteberry could be beneficial to supplement with. But if you just take these things randomly, they could do more harm than good. So make sure to get tested. And again, if you don't know how to go about that, message me. I'll send you in the right direction. Ashwagandha is a good supplement, lowers cortisol levels, beneficial for menopause. Again, though, I do want to mention that sometimes when we see a client that's, you know, super stressed out, or you feel like you're stressed out, and maybe me or another coach or whoever at some point has said, oh, I feel like you have high cortisol. If you have high cortisol for a long period of time, meaning just a couple months, but especially a couple of years, it actually turns into low cortisol. So sometimes, you know, if you feel like you have high cortisol, you hear this all the time, high cortisol this, high cortisol that, and then you do something like take ashwagandha, when in reality you actually have low cortisol. So someone with high cortisol has a hard time falling asleep, you know, immediately wakes up, you know, maybe in the middle of the night, yada yada. Essentially, you should have like a lot of energy, a lot of like adrenaline pumping through you. But if you are a very stressed out client and you're fatigued all the time, you could take a nap in the middle of the day, you're, you know, constantly sleeping, you have no energy, then you probably have low cortisol, which comes from having high cortisol for so long, chronically elevated. So again, don't just randomly take these things, get tested. Licorice tea helps phytoestrogens, adrenal support, PCOS support, PMS symptom relief. I will say I think the teas are going to be beneficial, as you know, you don't necessarily need to get tested if you're going to, you know, drink some teas, but I still think you should in general. And you don't want to be drinking these teas every day if you're not sure why you're taking it. Supplementing with vitamin D. You could just get vitamin D off Amazon. I honestly use the brand just like nature, whatever it is. Dr. Nate, I don't know. The yellow one off Amazon. You don't need to do anything specific or super fancy. As far as other supplements, it is important to make sure that, you know, you make sure you're getting it from a reliable brand and company, but vitamin D3 is pretty reliable. So if you're not getting enough sunlight, and like I said, majority of people are vitamin D deficient, so I don't think it will hurt anybody to supplement with vitamin D3. Peppermint tea can improve your gut as well as relieve constipation. So if you're not going to the bathroom every day or you're feeling backed up, peppermint tea could be a good place to start, or if you're having anything gut related issues. Dandelion tea, liver support, which are liver detoxes, everything, you know, all the toxins, so detox, right? And just like we mentioned, we know there's a lot of toxins. If you are burning candles in your house, you're breathing in toxins. If you're burning incense, if you're wearing makeup that is, you know, not completely like natural and organic, if you're washing your scalp with shampoo that has parabens or whatever, all of that, I could not even imagine. I don't think it's possible to not be in a toxic environment. Like in general, just pollution outside would be toxic. So your liver is constantly under a lot of stress, and doing a lot for you, especially if you're drinking alcohol and eating shitty foods. Like, you know, liver support is really underlooked, I'd say. So dandelion tea could support that, as well as regulate blood sugar. And then trace mineral droplets, you could go on Amazon and get trace minerals, the little blue and white bottle, and just add a couple drops to your day. That I would recommend for anybody and everybody. I don't think that would hurt at all. I think that will only help. We're pretty much all a little bit mineral deficient. Our fruits and veggies, our soil doesn't necessarily produce the same, quality foods that we should be having. So I think supplementing with trace minerals could be beneficial all around. And I also wanted to point out zinc, vitamin like B complex, magnesium, and selenium. These four, if you are on birth control or have recently gotten off birth control, you probably should be taking these. Birth control just naturally depletes these supplements or these minerals in general. So it won't hurt. Again, I think majority of people are B complex deficient. Magnesium will always be helpful, but definitely these four, just a fun fact, are depleted if you are on birth control. So that's it. Anybody learn anything new, anything fun, anything that hit? Comments, questions, concerns? Hit me. Deborah's gonna try dandelion tea. Hell yeah. Tell me how it is. I've actually never tried it. I've been curious about that one, how that may taste. I'm assuming it tastes floral. Maybe you could just add some honey. Yeah. But yeah, definitely get hormones tested if you haven't gotten them done in the last 3 or 6 months. And blood work is good. Miss Alana's the queen of that. She's the best. And you're coaching.
I have a question.
Ma'am.
Do you know, like, if you go for like a general blood work panel for like a regular annual visit, does it include like hormone panels, or do you have to ask?
You usually have to ask, but also even if you do ask, they're usually missing a lot of labs that would be very beneficial to know. Like for example, your thyroid, you can test for like 4 different kinds of thyroid, but if you go to just like a general, doctor or whatever, they show one number, and that then that's when they're like, oh, your thyroid is fine, but they're not paying attention to T3, T4, and like how your thyroid, converts and talks to other hormones. Same for like estrogen, like there's estradiol, there's estrogen, there's some other estrogen one. So no, they're usually not comprehensive. They're not usually not like kind of showing the whole picture, which again is usually why they're like, oh, you're good. The amount of clients that I've had, that said they just got their blood work done, literal doctors said that they're good, and then we actually get it done through like a functional nutrition specialist, and you're all out of whack. So I think it's
Okay.
beneficial to just kind of outsource that.
Okay. If you know of anybody in Austin, let me know.
Yeah, I will. So it's not like local or anything. It's you just order the blood work
Oh,
yourself.
okay.
So yeah, you can purchase it. I'll send you a link. There's also like a discount code. I don't even know whose discount code it is. I just found it. And then you schedule it, you order it at your nearest LabCorp, and then they email you the results.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I definitely recommend that. And then send it to me too. Take advantage of, having a coach that would love to look at your blood work.
I'd love the link too. I want to try it.
Yay. Okay. So Deborah, Peyton, anybody else?
Me too, please.
Morgan, wait, is it
And
Morgan?
me.
Yes, Stinchcomb.
Okay, you know what? I'll just post it in the Discord. I'll post it in the Discord. Like I said, I think everybody should do it. Like
Okay.
I'm due too. We should all just go together.
I actually just tried to get some testing done yesterday because I went to the gyno, and through my insurance, she recommended that I just go to a different lab, and then she would like go over it with me because she said that the insurance would be like way higher than if you just did like a regular lab or if you did any online. So it would be really useful to have that.
Okay, yeah. I know Alana just bought it, and she also bought it with review. How much was that?
It was 170 without review, 200 with review.
Cool.
And it's super easy to schedule. Tara has me lining up with like my period, which she'll tell you guys all about. But you can get appointments like literally like next day. It's super easy. I'm like such a baby when it comes to that kind of stuff. The lady was so good and like barely felt it. So 10 out of 10 recommend.
How long does it take to get results?
It was 3 to 5 business days, and they'll email you,
Okay.
and then I just sent them to Tara.
Okay, cool.
That's
Who reviews
amazing.
it for you?
What was that?
Who reviews it for you?
So they have like nutritionist coaches that's like through the company that will review it for you.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm in a functional health coaching course right now. So, right now I'm a certified personal trainer and other things, but currently becoming a health coach too, which, dives more into hormones and blood work and all that. So it's through the company of coaches that, I'm training to be under sort of thing. So I would definitely recommend it. And, I encourage getting the review because why not? I'm a little bit trained, but I would recommend having somebody that's like super trained review your blood work as well. And it would be learning moment for all of us. So I'll post it in the community chat. If you guys have any specific questions about it, let me know. But yeah, if you do get your period, you want to get the blood work done on between day 19 and 21. So in your luteal phase, essentially on those days, and you want to get it done in the morning, fasted before you have food.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll share more details. So thanks guys. This is so fun. I love this. All right. See you next week. We got yoga and a coaching call next week. Love ya.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course.